Thank you so very much. I'm Lucia. I'm a compulsive overeater, and I'm really grateful to be here. I'd love to start just with a set aside prayer. God, please set aside everything I think I know about you, everything I think I know about myself, everything I think I know about others, and everything I think I know about my own recovery for a new experience with myself, a new experience with others, a new experience with my own recovery, and especially a new experience with you. Please help me see the truth. So I'm a little nervous, as you see, and I always wonder why people ask me to share because I I always say I know nothing. And I remember my sponsor saying when I had gotten to step 11 that okay, now you have to think about being a sponsor. I was like, what? I said, I know nothing, I had this preconceived notion that I had to know the big book backwards and know how to fix everybody and all that jazz. And she's like, exactly, you know nothing. Keep that. So I come to you humbly and I just want to put that out there. And somehow that keeps me with the truth that at least in my experience, this program has no boundaries. It has no limitness. My relationship with my higher power just can crack open and keep on going deeper and deeper as time has gone on. And I've been in the program this time. This is my fourth attempt at OA for almost 4 years. So I'm very, very grateful for this recovery. I tried to come into the program. I'm Canadian and now I live in Europe. I live in Norway, but I tried to come into these rooms when I was 18, when I was still living in Canada. And I remember walking into these rooms and knowing there was this knowingness that this was my solution. But I just remember, and I think I went to like two meetings. I just remember looking around going, I don't understand a word that these people are saying. And I could see that it was helping them, but I thought, this is never gonna, like, I don't get it. Like, I don't know how to apply that into my life. And, I think just that is extremely humbling because I'm 46 now, just turned that last week. And I had to wait until I was 42 to really fall down, like to really what the grace that brought me back into this room was such a level of desperation. I was on the floor and I was thinking that taking my own life would have been the solution. And it was January 11th of 2022, and I was in this huge pattern again of what I now know is my red foods, and I could not stop filling that void. It was impossible. And I think in that moment, the scariest thing that happened to me was that, and this was grace, was that I don't know if you can see yourself in this, but for anybody who was in a consistent diet pattern, and I've been on a consistent diet pattern since I was 9 years old. My sister, who unfortunately suffered with bulimia, she saw me gaining weight and she put me on a diet, which I failed at with nine. So that's the last kind of memory of feeling any kind of relationship with food without guilt or shame because I was, from that moment, anytime I ate, I was either eating too much, too little. I didn't know. There was my relationship, you know. And once again, I say that after going through the steps, after seeing my part, after really, really being able to say to you today, thank you, God, for making me a compulsive overeater because I wouldn't have this relationship with my higher power. I wouldn't have this relationship with myself. I wouldn't have this relationship with all of the people I love, and I wouldn't have gotten a second chance at life. So it's yeah. So I'll just go back to that moment where I was sitting on the couch with my red foods, and I remember thinking, "Oh no, I don't think I can restart my diet on Monday." It's like it was gone from my awareness, my consciousness. There was no element that I could control this anymore in the way I had been doing for over 30 years. And I thought, okay, no, I can't stop eating. So that means I'm gonna blow up to 300 pounds, and that means I'm gonna just have to kill myself. Like that was honestly the only way I thought that I would get through the rest of my life. And I had already started going to another fellowship for about almost 2 years. So I had started to build a relationship to a higher power. So I remember the next morning, January the 12th is my anniversary in this program. And I remember praying, and I remember this feeling of being led to my computer and typing in oa.org, org, and just jumping on a meeting because there was always this realization that OA was my solution. I just had ginormous gaps, and you know, yeah, there's no regret because life just takes us on a journey. And the idea that, even showing up here to think that I can control anything that I'm about to say, even though I kind of thought a little bit about it, is, sometimes a little bit of nonsense because when when I open my heart, I don't know what's going to come out. And when I pray to my higher power, just let me say your words, I really don't know. So um, I started to go to a bunch of different meetings. I found this amazing woman who, when she shared, she just opened my heart, and I said, "Oh, can you please be my sponsor?" And thank God she said yes. And almost 4 years later, we're still in this wonderful relationship of sponsor sponsee. I went through the steps. I found a couple steps extremely difficult. Maybe you can relate. I remember getting to step 4 and going, "I'm out of here." Like it's so hard. I remember her saying on day one of our first time that we spoke together, and she said, "Okay, now I want you to write me your food, choose a food plan." And back in the day, I was still using the dignity of choice. So choose a food plan, write me your foods every day, and also I want you to weigh and measure. And I was like, what? Like, I used to judge people who would weigh and measure, unfortunately, because what I can tell you, the good news is that the first day after weighing and measuring was the first day in my entire life that I had serenity with my food. And I thought, oh my gosh, like here I am, um, judging, judging a new way, a new perspective, because my life was really black and white, and I was good with just two options. And now I feel like OA is like open the door to like a rainbow. Um, yeah, so I put the food down pretty quickly, I would say. And I've been really graced with good abstinence. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that the cravings don't come back, but I think the power of using this program just on a daily basis, and sometimes like 1 minute at a time, one meal at a time, has allowed me to realize that I have this toolbox of tools. Not only do we have the steps, which is, it's the must. It's like we have to put the food down, we have to do the steps because it's through that process that the miracles and the promises can happen. But we have also all of these amazing tools. I pick up the phone to people I have never met in person, just like all of you. And I have people in my life who are like my soul sisters, and they know everything about me. They know the deepest, ugliest things about me. And they just say, yeah, I get it. And I love you, and you're doing great. I think that that's a miracle. I remember before I found the 12 steps in my life, I was always the person who would be the know-it-all, especially in the spiritual world, because I had somewhat of a coming to the spiritual path decades before I joined the OA program. And so I thought I knew it all. And here I am opening up with that I know nothing. I'm so happy about that because it just, it allows my higher power to reveal itself through my everyday. And I don't need to know everything. I can just show up. And that's one of the biggest gifts I've been given of this program. It's like I now have so many years and days and experience and thousands of examples that I know how to show up. I don't always know what's going to happen. Um, 99% of the time, I don't know what's going to happen, but I can just say a little prayer and I can say, let thy will be done. And somehow I can take this sometimes ginormous fear with me and I can get through situations that used to baffle me. And so I know that God is doing for me what I couldn't do for myself because I used to have to control and I used to have to get angry and I used to have to use that anger against people. And there is a miracle that's happened in my life that it's softened me. It's made me able to laugh at myself. And it's giving me like a team, like a God squad of people who are willing somehow through the grace of all of this to support me, to listen, to give feedback when it's appropriate. I get to write about the ugly. You know, my sponsor used to say, use the writing tool. And sometimes when you can't see it all, when you don't even know what the resentment is, to work on your step 4 or your step 10, get out the ugly first. So I get out the ugly first, and then I somehow get the ability to just say, okay, higher power, how do you see this? And then I land on something. I'm like, oh yeah, that's the nitty-gritty of it all. Like that's the thing I'm really upset about. So that's what I take through my 10 steps these days. And then I even have a 10-step buddy that I love to send my stuff to, because it's like anytime I call, anytime I do service, anytime I send my stuff over, anytime, yeah, I'm in that, I am handing over something to something greater than myself. And one of the most fantastic things I've ever heard was a fellow um, at a meeting that I popped into, and he said, "We thought that food was the solution, and when we take a good first step, and we put the food down, we realized that the solution is step 2, to a powder greater than ourselves." And I literally had been in program for over 3.5 years. And this is what I'm talking about. There's no boundaries of understanding in this program. There's no need to think that you know anything or need to think that you need like this big bucket of knowledge of anything, because it's like it's completely pushed all of the time. And I was just like, yeah, that's it. Like I came in thinking that food was the problem. Food wasn't my problem. Food was my lover, my boyfriend, my pleasure, my sabotage, it was everything. It became my best friend. I wasn't aware of it, but then I come into this program and it's saying, yeah, you use this as a solution, but because it's not based in truth, it has an expiry date. And my expiry date was January the 12th, 2022 at the moment. And then I started to learn about building this idea of a higher power. And, I come from a big Italian family, and so you had no choice. You had to be Catholic. And I love church, but I don't go to church anymore. So I had this idea of church or of God. And then I come into this program and they say, but you can create a relationship to something that you choose. And so for 4 years, almost 4 years, um, there's been a deepening of this understanding. And there's been a deepening of like going from step 1 to step 2 to step 3, and this idea of trusting. Because I just spoke with my sponsor yesterday, and it was revealed again, like I don't always trust my higher power. I I One of the things that I'm really working on is like my self-will comes in so fast still, and I think I have the solution. But what happened in that moment, because I've been so busy, 2 minutes, I
Two
hear that.
minutes, Lucia. Yeah.
Yeah. What happened is that I don't pause. I don't take a breath sometimes. I feel like I have to get all this stuff done because life has gotten busy again after 4 years of not being busy and my life totally falling apart, which was really in hindsight gorgeous, because it was like higher power giving me the time to in a way, higher power put me back together in a way to live my life again for the first time. And I really feel like I'm in a new chapter because of the grace and because of the promises of being happy, joyous, and free. And because I've been graced with all of the promises coming true. And I know there will be a deepening of that as I'm vigilant every day to work this program just one day at a time. But what I'm really working on is like pausing, listening, writing, and just waiting for the right next action. Like they tell us in step 11, right? Like you can just pray for the right next action. Once again, I'm always back at this thing of like, I don't need to know the answer. Um, but you know, I'm graced with knowing that eventually something will come, you know? So I'm really working very hard at that. And just with the last 40 seconds, I just want to talk about service, because service is like where it's at for me. It's um it's coming out of myself. Um, it's being there somehow and being timekeeper and being secretary and I love being a sponsor. I love seeing people unravel their own stuff, hit really hard stuff, and just say, it's going to be okay. This too shall pass. And them using these tools and miraculously getting through some things that they would have just run from, including myself. I was a runner. I still want to be a runner. So if anybody's new out there, I just want to say, stay or keep on coming back because it's just going to work. It just has to because this
That's
program
tough.
this program is based on truth. So thank you.